You are now listening to Mr. Z Blackneffect.
Fair use, fair use. Fair use, fair use. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. And hit the hype button on the way out whenever it populates, of course. Yeah. So this is gonna be a random stream, random with random thoughts, and this one shouldn't last too long. Mr. Z says that often, but yeah, no, we are running errands. I know I'm gonna bore at certain points. Hopefully, I will be able to reiterate what I'm saying, and it won't be the end of the world. Hopefully. So let's get to it. Mr. Z got to see Godfrey, yes, the comedian Godfrey, Nigerian comedian out of Chicago, Godfrey, um, the other night, with Miss Z. Hey, the red pill has taken off, y'all. Y'all can say what y'all want. Shout out to the social designers and technocrats. Um, Godfrey, what he was sounding lightweight red pill, y'all. Lightweight red pill. He was in rah rah rah. Women ain't nothing. That first of all, that's not how we speak, or that's not really what we believe, particularly as black men. But Godfrey was sounding goddamn really red pill up there, huh? Rightfully so, right? Godfrey was sounding pretty damn red pill, right? So it was funny, and he got on the ladies for being mean, um, impossible to approach even at his level, just being dismissive. Yeah, right. So y'all can say what y'all want. Shout out to all of you talking heads and pundits and you commentators, and the problem with men is that they don't understand that they have to be more likable and et cetera, et cetera. Nope. Men across the board are telling you that y'all are raising insufferable, mean, condescending, rude, entitled daughters. You could try to reframe it all you want. You could say, no, it's because the men expect something from the women, or they think they're entitled. No, your daughters are mean, and we gonna make them feel that. Hopefully, you have enough money saved up where you could fund her for the rest of her life, not your life, but her life. Because if we have comedians saying it, and by the way, Godfrey's not the first, and he's not the only, huh? So yeah. What BGS said, escape velocity. Yep, true indeed. Escape velocity. It really is escape velocity, right? So yeah, this is going to be fun. It's going to be interesting and fun to see how America in the West deals with the fact that women spend more money but earn less money, and the men don't want to be attached to them because the women are assholes. Even the famous men are like, man, look, I'm trying to smash and get out. And Godfrey was speaking about going on dates with women and there being a-holes to the waiters, right? And just how even Godfrey, yes, improvising, funny, charismatic Godfrey says he don't like walking up to a group of women because there's always that one angry chick who acts as a guard dog for the rest of them. Ooh. Yes, Godfrey, the comedian who's been making money for how long, who we all know of. Yep. They keep on telling us it's us, everyone. They keep on telling us it's us. And even famous, rich, y'all know, you'll never believe Godfrey's in his 50s. Godfrey's in his 50s, y'all. Huh? And even he's like, yo, this is some BS. Yeah. Escape velocity, as BGS said, rightfully so. Escape velocity, right? So hopefully you guys can hear me well. I will be on the road, so we're gonna play a clip or two, and we're gonna make comments about it. Some of these clips are old, but I never really got a chance to speak on them when they were out. So we'll just make comments on them and speak on them for a little bit. But yeah, shout out to Godfrey. Shout out to Godfrey. His stand up was great. He had a LGBTQ brother in there. No pun, but that opened up for him. LGBTQ brother making everybody feel uncomfortable. Definitely the white folks, the white dude that he flirted with, it was just funny. It was just funny. Yeah, y'all. So it was, yeah. Godfrey, I suggest y'all see him if you get a chance. He's funny, and you know, and at least this time, and he went in on the church folks. He went in on the Latinos, the Cubans that voted for Donald Trump. He was like, "Wasn't that down here?" And he just flamed them. Godfrey called him out, and he did. Yes, he did the "I will vote for Donald Trump" dance. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He did. Yes, he did. And he mentioned how that lady's husband got deported, got caught up and deported. Yes, he did. Shout out to Godfrey. Exactly. So we'll play these and we'll speak about it on the other end. Here we go.
All the black men who date women outside of their race, white women, Latino women, Asian women, Hispanic women, Indian women, all of the women's. Okay? I'm telling you something, and I hope I speak on behalf of all black women when I say this, okay? This might be the nicest thing a black woman has ever said to you, so I want you to listen up. Open your ears, okay, brother? Do you hear me, Jamal? Marcus, are you listening? Terrence, I need you to the front. Somebody go get Kevin. Please go get him. All right? You're free to go. You're free. You're released from the shackles of the melanin.
You know, I hate to say this because she is such a beautiful young woman, but sweetheart, nobody cares. Why are you acting like black men need your permission in order to date somebody else? By the way, all black men who have dated Caucasian, Mexican, Indian, even Turkish women, they have never looked back. And you want to know something else? All these women who have once went black, they never went back. So either way, it's a win-win situation for them. And for you, unfortunately, nobody cares. Sorry.
If you offer me a job and I find out my manager, my direct supervisor is going to be a minority, babe, keep that DEI hire and keep that job offer too. I prefer to work under white men, okay? White, middle-aged, men with a family, AARP eligible.
Examining the rising unemployment among black women in the U.S., focusing on August 2025. The unemployment rate for black women has climbed to 6.7%, a figure demanding immediate attention. This increase signifies potential economic instability and systemic issues within the labor market. Federal job cuts are a significant factor, as black women comprise 12% of the federal workforce. Agencies like USAID and the Department of Education, with substantial black women presence, faced budget reductions. The impact extends beyond job losses, affecting family incomes, healthcare, education, and housing stability. Another critical factor is the rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI.
Our biological mates were the most employed by the federal government. They used down to tear us down as how worthless we are. So much that you saw that video. It created a mentality. Like, I remember seeing it. They used to have that narrative. Black women and white men are equally yoked. Y'all have lost more jobs in it. Like, what? I've said this. Black women love abuse. If you come out, you treat a black woman like a human, she's not good. Look at the two men that have black women in a chokehold in our community. It's the thugs, the street niggas, Pookie and Ray Ray, and white men. They would plan. So you know what the longer plan is? I'm going to say what I think it is. Part of a larger plan. See, now that they've done this, the next few years, black women, they're not going to hire you. Y'all going to go through some shit. They're not going to hire black men either. So we're going to be at the bottom. We're going to suffer a lot. And then you're going to see this explosion in attention from white men. Bottom of the barrel white men. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to jump at it because, of course, now you got Pastor Lobster and he's literally saving you from poverty. And we're going to see a blowout of biracial babies. I think this is part of a larger plan on turning black America white. And say all you want, there are 1 million more kids. Black women have 1 million more kids than black men. They have more biracial children than black men. We just don't talk about this. But so anyways, we get to sit down every day and watch our biological mates tell us white men are better. Pasta Lobster. You saw that. I would rather work with a white man. Meanwhile, what are these white men doing? Nigger bitch, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. You want to be around white men. They want to be around you the least of all. They want to be around you the least, and you're on the internet telling everybody you want to be around them the most.
All right, so we're back. All right, everyone. Sorry to disrupt your beautiful Saturday morning with Black women's effery. Okay, which one are we going to address first? We're going to address the Soraya Brooks. All right, let's address the Soraya Brooks. For all of us that remember the young lady just thinking she's giving Black men a pass to go end up or date or marry or procreate with or have sex with non-Black women. As Soraya Brooks said, we didn't need your pass, lady. Good to know. We know you're being spiteful and mean, but we don't care. We didn't ask you anyway. That's number one. Number two, Soraya Brooks must not really, really appreciate that the Black community is a matriarchy if you want to be kind, the garnocracy if you want to be accurate. That's why she thinks she got to give passes for Black men to do what Black men were going to do, regardless of what she thought or felt anyway. We know she's trying to be a little sarcastic, spiteful Betty. We appreciate that, but no, she did actually believe that she needed to say it. As if anyone asked her opinion. And yes, instead of Black women getting their mind right, they would much rather speak like this. Huh? Yes. Huh? So shout out to Soraya Brooks. Notice she didn't say white women when Soraya Brooks was going through the list of women that when Black men end up with them, they don't go back. She didn't mention white women. Soraya Brooks said, "Yeah, I ain't gonna mention the white women because yeah, right." You know, Black women find themselves in an interesting position. As Gothic said, you want to be around the white man so bad. You want to be accepted by him. But yet he wants to be around you the least. And that's pretty damn bad. And it's out-group women begging, pleading to be accepted. And it's kind of embarrassing, right? Watching them grovel and beg and plead and and how is this supposed to work for Black women, right? It's always a very interesting question to ask. Okay, we'll take you up on the offer. 35% of Black men disappear. Date out, marry out, they travel, they do SYSBM or Passport Bros. And what are Black women supposed to do? So yeah, you got your little spiteful hair. We go then. We don't care. Go. Right? So you get that off. 35% of Black men take you up on the offer. And Black women are supposed to do what with themselves? Huh? Black women are supposed to do what with themselves? End up with non-Black men? Y'all been trying. The numbers don't look well. The numbers don't look well. The math ain't mathing. Huh? Sounds nice. Huh? Soraya Brooks called her out, even though that's an old clip. Soraya Brooks called her out. Your attitude knows no bounds. Black women, it's crazy when you read through the comments, and it was a young lady, and this is how you know people are not really good at making arguments or framing debates and arguments. It's a young lady who said, well, how do y'all know that she wasn't attacked first? Y'all making presumptions that she was attacked first. Like, Black men always talk crap about Black women behind their backs when they were non-Black women or when they were white women. And it was fascinating because she made a presumption. You say, because the default is to defend, right? Understandable. And so you accuse those in the comments of making presumptions about why the lady said what she said, the Black young lady said what she said. While you make presumptions on somewhere is some colorist, featurist, fatphobic, anti-Black black mama hating, black woman hating black man who, I guess, made the first step in a negative way. And so this young lady was responding. You accuse others of making presumptions while you too make presumptions. Oof. Yeah, everyone. Yeah. I said it already. Let's say it again. The default is that women, particularly black women, are full of nothing but virtue, and black men, men, particularly black men, are filled with nothing but vice. That is the assumption in the black community, particularly, obviously, held by black women. Say it again, Z. Black women and girls are filled with nothing but virtue. That is the default. Black boys and men are filled with nothing but vice. That is the default. That is the default in the black community. Black men and black women speak that way, particularly, obviously, black women, because black women are never on the wrong side of history concerning black men. We will twist ourselves into pretzels to, once again, assume that a black woman was responding to something negative a black man said or did. Of course, of course. Huh? Yeah, about that. Yeah, okay, all right, continue. The other clip with Gothic. But of course, right? And it's crazy because she said the people of color thing, you could keep that. So for all of you black folks in particular, black men even more particularly, when you are in management, when you are in a leadership role, when you are a supervisor, team lead, first, if we're going to be fair, many black women are already being disrespectful and dismissive towards you as a normal employee before you have rank, before you have a title. God forbid now you have a title and some rank. They're going to make sure to let you know through action, through words, through demeanor and attitude that they don't care nothing about your title and rank and what authority you have in the workspace. The lady said it. Give me the old white man. You gotta, now, if that's how she thinks about the workspace, what does she think about the society? What does she think about the country? Uh-oh. Black women being the colonizing agent. Who would have thunk it? This is why Mr. Z says it. This is why, you know, we've had scholars who say it. I'm not going to say their name right now so we don't incriminate them. Anyway. Yeah. Black women being the colonizing agent. Shout out to that young lady for saying it. Play it again for the people, Z.
If you offer me a job and I find out my manager, my direct supervisor is going to be a minority, babe, keep that DEI hire and keep that job offer too. I prefer to work under white men, okay? White, middle-aged, you know, men with a family, you know, AARP eligible.
Examining the rising unemployment among black women in the U.S., focusing on August 2025. The unemployment rate for black women has climbed to 6.7%, a figure demanding immediate attention. This increase signifies potential economic instability and systemic issues within the labor market. Federal job cuts are a significant factor, as black women comprise 12% of the federal workforce. Agencies like USAID and the Department of Education, with substantial black women presence, faced budget reductions. The impact extends beyond job losses, affecting family incomes, healthcare, education, and housing stability. Another critical factor is the rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI.
Our biological mates were the most employed by the federal government. They used down to tear us down as how worthless we are. So much that you saw that video. It created a mentality. Like, I remember seeing it. They used to have that narrative. Black women and white men are equally yoked. Y'all have lost more jobs in it. Like, what? I've said this. Black women love abuse. If you come out, you treat a black woman like a human, she's not good. Look at the two men that have black women in a chokehold in our community. It's the thugs, the street niggas, Pookie and Ray Ray, and white men. They would plan. So you know what the longer plan is? I'm going to say what I think it is. Part of a larger plan. See, now that they've done this, the next few years, black women, they're not going to hire you. Y'all going to go through some shit. They're not going to hire black men either. So we're going to be at the bottom. We're going to suffer a lot. And then you're going to see this explosion in attention from white men. Bottom of the barrel white men. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to jump at it because, of course, now you got Pasta Lobster and he's literally saving you from poverty. And we're going to see a blowout of biracial babies. I think this is part of a larger plan on turning black America white. And say all you want, there are 1 million more kids. Black women have 1 million more kids than black men. They have more biracial children than black men. We just don't talk about this, but... So anyways, we get to sit down every day and watch our biological mates tell us white men are better. Pasta Lobster. You saw that. I would rather work with a white man. Meanwhile, what are these white men doing? Nigger bitch, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. You want to be around white men. They want to be around you the least. Of all. They want to be around you the least, and you're on the internet telling everybody you want to be around them the most.
You know, shout out to Gothic. Gothic, I don't see bottom of the barrel white men saving black women from poverty, bro. I don't see it. The majority of them are too anti-black. You have to appreciate Gothic. I don't know how much you've traveled around the country or whether you've ever lived in the South. The white guys are living amongst black women. They work with black women. They work in the Wendy's with black women. They work at the factory with black women. They work at the Amazon center with black women. The handful of black women they find attractive, they pipe. But they're not saving black women. You're right that if it's going to be anybody who black women end up with outside of black men, it's going to be the bottom of the barrel Brads and Jose's. That's correct. But saving black women, nah. And in any significant number, no. And that's not to defecate on black women. That's to say the white guys already live and work amongst black women. They're not attracted. It's that simple. Your average white man is not attracted, and he does not find black women that appealing. Right? You ain't seen anti-blackness yet until you see what these young white dudes are on. The type of time they're on, all across the Midwest in the South. Huh? These white guys are anti-black as hell. Huh? Oh, I gotta check it out. And Uranus says Jason sounded like Z last night. I gotta check it out. Will black men save? Excuse me, white men saving black women? The bottom of the shelf, Brad ending up with a Keisha from around the way from the hood. Yeah, I could see it. But upward mobility, nah, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. In any significant number, that too, not gonna happen. Huh? Once again, this is not to defecate on black women, but this country has a history. It's not that white men and black women haven't worked around each other. It's not that white men haven't even had, obviously, interracial fun with black women. It's that they don't stay. As you said yourself, Gothic, black women have how many children more than black men? And that's because black women are having sex with the same black men. And obviously, black women are having mixed children with non-black men, who those children then end up being considered black children. White men have had access to black women since the goddamn west coast of Africa. On the slave ships, on the plantation, during Reconstruction, during Jim Crow. Now that the miscegenation laws have been repealed since 1967, white men have access to black women. They're not choosing up on them. It's been 5+ decades. They're not choosing up on them. Huh? We damn near about to be 6 decades. They're not choosing up on them. I would forward this to you, Gothic. Black women are going to make themselves the Roma and Gypsy class. They are going to make themselves the series The Acolyte. They are going to make themselves the quote-unquote beehive. It's going to be a handful of reproductive women, a handful of men who are the Mandingos, black, white, Latino, Asian, or otherwise, but mainly, obviously, black men and a handful of white men. And black women, as technology bites in, as you find more and more folks try to find their partner, Z, you use the word partner, I know, find their partner and make things happen, you're going to see more and more black women who refuse to work on their attitude, who refuse to work on their diet, who refuse to work on their worldview when it comes to men, black men in specific. They will box themselves out, pun intended. They will have a liquor license, pun intended. It will be a coven of co-munching black women. Huh? That I do not foresee a world in the near future, at least, where black women find some type of respite from poverty in the super struggle, in the arms and under the groin of white men and maybe some Latino men. No, I foresee, especially with what's going on in America right now, I foresee black women continuing to give black men the middle finger and just making themselves absolutely insufferable even more than they are now. And no one messing with them. Not LGBTQ, not straight, no one. Not non-black women, not non-black men, and increasingly not black men. Huh? That's what Mr. Z sees in the future for black women. Right? So there's that. And furthering this notion, this is what people are thinking about black women. They're just way too loud.
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
I opened up about leaving my 10-year marriage online, which no longer served me, him, or our kids, only to be told to go back because till death do us part.
What the hell?
What the hell is correct. She said, it's always the men that don't get it. Trust me, it's not just the men. The women are on your ass too. This is what you posted. You said, clapping for myself for choosing to leave my 10-year marriage because the unknown seems better than settling out of familiarity, safety, and comfortability. The unknown? What are you, 19? You have children, multiple young children. In your caption, you even say, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know what I'll do next. Do you think that that's a positive environment, a stable environment for your children to be living in? Especially when your only complaint about the previous environment was that you were too bored. Not that he was cheating, not that he was abusing you, not that he was a horrible father. It was that you had too much security. You're cooked. And now one half of your entire personality is constantly reminding us that you're moving on from your marriage and moving on from the past. And yet the other half of your personality is constantly reminding us that you're divorced. That don't sound like moving on to me. In your own words, you had a comfortable, safe, stable marriage and life, which is more than most people can even ask for, and you threw all of that away just so you could go live your spontaneous teenage city girl dreams and make a fool of yourself on social media for the entire internet to see, and for your kids to have to grow up dealing with the repercussions of your actions. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, the home wrecker is inside the home. You are the epitome of a selfish person. Somebody pray for them kids.
Does everyone appreciate, do black women appreciate what your face look like right now in American society? Whether it's Tamara, the twin, Jada Pinkett, Aisha Curry, this young lady. White women file for divorce too, people. Latinas file for divorce too, everyone. Latinas cheat also. White women cheat also. They have affairs with coworkers, etc., etc. Like everybody knows the stereotype of the pool boy. And yet black women are actively, see, we can't just say propaganda anymore. Black women are making themselves the face of destroying the family unit, the face of having stability and saying middle finger to stability. Whether it's former First Lady Michelle Obama, once again, whether it's Aisha Curry, whether it's Jada Pinkett Smith, I'm scrolling through Instagram and you got this Asian guy acting out Aisha Curry, speaking down on being married to Steph Curry. Asian guy. Black women, you are making yourselves even more than you already were the face of middle finger to men, to structure, to society, to everything wholesome and good. Oh, this is horrible. Wow. The young lady sounds just like that. Isn't that what Tamara was saying too? I graduated from marriage. Oh my God. What is frightening is you see it. It's so blatant. And the only one that seems to be none the wiser are black women. Well, what's wrong with what she said? What's wrong with what she's doing? This is why, once again, Gothic, I forward to you that black women are just going to be co-munching, same-sex loving women in some goddamn coven somewhere. Check your local county. There's going to be a city. There's going to be a part of the city in every county. There's going to be a city and a part of the city where this is where black women live. This is where black women live. A handful of black men, to be fair. But this is where black women live. Z, doesn't that exist now? Yeah, but not how Z sees this coming about. Wow. You are the face of destroying stable marriages and relationships. This is why Mr. Z says the internet will expose us all. See, when black women could frame this, especially in the 90s, shout out to all you Gen Z. Y'all weren't here. Boomers were here. Xers were here. Millennials, even though we were children, we were here. And we were all watching the talk shows. And we were all watching the news segments or the panel discussions. Millennials, Generation X were in the thick of it. Boomers, the youngest of them, were in the thick of it, where it was just talk show after talk show after talk show. Particularly particularly when it's concerning black men, of how toxic black men were, of how loser black men were. Think of the movie Waiting to Excel, where every black man, there's some negative caricature. Think of the movie The Color Purple. Every black man, some negative caricature. Four Color Girls. Every black man, some negative caricature. Right? For those of you who are Gen Z, I don't think I have any alpha really listening, but definitely Gen Z, y'all weren't here to see it. It was full court press every day how horrible black men are and how much better black women are to not be attached to black men. Remember, this is coinciding the mass incarceration of black men. Huh? Kevin Samuels said the color purpling of the black community. Mr. Z backs him up and say the waiting to excelling of the black community. Why is Mr. Z bringing that up for this conversation? We're no longer in that time. Mass media is slow on the uptake, and black women are themselves destroying their image. The reason why I brought up the 90s and these talk shows and these movies was to say, when black media could get their funding from white folks, and when white folks had segments on black people, black women in particular, relationships, intimacy, sex with black men, it was easy to continue to frame this conversation like black men were the worst people on the planet and black women should expand their options, right? Date out, marry out. And as you hear more and more black women say, it's different when we date out than when you date out, black men. When we as black women date out, we date out because there's no black men on our level. When we as black women marry out, it's because you black men were colorist, featurist, texturist, etc., etc. You black men didn't know how to value a black woman. You were intimidated by our success. You were not on our level educationally. You didn't have any class or tact. Right? When black men date out, it's because, once again, black men are colorist, futurist, fat phobic. Right? Black men don't see the value in a black woman. Black men don't see the value in an educated black woman. Black men, the successful black men, once they get money, they want to grab the white man's trophy, which obviously is the white woman. Huh? Yikes. Exactly, else. We were forced to date out. When black women date out, they were forced to date out. That's always the framing. Why this matters for this part of the conversation is that black women are now recording themselves telling you that they are destroying relationships with black men because of what, Z? Because. Huh? Just because. See, they're not being coached into lying anymore by other black women and by white media. Huh? They just pick up their phone, press record, and tell you, yeah, I'm destroying my relationship because. Huh? I filed for divorce because. I broke up with him because. Because of what? Because. Because I woke up and I wanted my freedom and my liberation and I wanted to go experience life. I didn't want to be held down. Now, damaging that man, destroying their children, huh? Because the beauty of now is, as Mr. Z says, the internet will expose us all. The women are recording themselves, telling you they're filing for divorce because they're ending 10-year-long marriages because they're jealous of their husbands. They're saying it in everything but those exact words. Ain't that right? Former First Lady Michelle Obama, yikes. Jada Pinkett Smith, yikes. Aisha Curry, yikes. Uh-oh. Huh? What you are seeing from black women is that, fine, their husband stepped out on them and cheated. Cool. They file for divorce. The husband doesn't sign the divorce papers. They turn around and have sex with another man while pregnant with their husband's child, then turn around and get pregnant from the side dude while still technically being married. Ain't that right, Cardi B? Yikes. Yeah. It is not black men. I would like to forward once again to Gothic. Black women are going to destroy themselves. It is not black men. And there's not enough white men, even the white men in poverty, even the white men in the struggle, even the white men that live amongst and work amongst black women. There's not enough of them that are not anti-black. There's not enough of them that forget anti-black. Fine, we know that there are white men that are anti-black as hell and they still have sex fun with black women. They have triple X fun with black women. We know that exists. Fine. There's not enough white men that are that attracted to black women. Huh? Yoda says, does Gothic have a YouTube? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm almost certain he has TikTok and obviously he has Instagram, but I don't think he's on YouTube. Right? I don't think so. If white men were going to be with black women, they would have been with black women decades ago. In significant number, we know there are white men that truly find black women attractive, and he has a black wife, and he might have a black side chick or two, right? It exists. It doesn't exist in any real number. It doesn't register. If white men saw black women as a viable option, whether in poverty, whether in middle class, whether poor, whether rich, whether wealthy, black women would have been Asian women. If white men were interested in black women in significant number, black women would have been Asian women. It's not happening because it's not going to happen, not in the foreseeable future. Black women are going to destroy their relationships with black men. Young black men and boys are going to see that and they're going to move accordingly. And what you are going to find is more and more black women sequestered off in different parts of the city where it's pretty much only black women in the struggle, maybe a handful of non-black women that live amongst them, maybe a handful of non-black men and some black men that live amongst them, and that's it. 1 or 2 mixed babies from those white dudes in the super struggle, a couple of fully black children, usually darker than a brown paper bag, and that's it. We already see it. It's already happening. Huh? You go to your BFE towns in Missouri, your BFE towns in Tennessee, huh? In Kansas, in Oklahoma, huh? We're not talking about your major cities, huh? In Arkansas. When you go to these kind of nowheresville places and there's black people that live there, that's what you see. Huh? There's always a white boy Mike. White boy Mike pipes black women. Is he married to a black woman? White boy Mike has 2 and 3 and 4 mixed kids. Is it all from the same black woman? Uh-oh. Huh? I don't see it, Gothic. Number one. Once again, celebrating divorcing your husband after 10 years and admitting it had nothing to do with something wrong he was doing. You know, when people think of building a legacy, storing some wealth, leaving something behind for your children, building a family, talk about building a family. And black women have shown themselves more and more, not just to black men. I know y'all don't care about y'all image towards black men. I get it. When black women show themselves more and more because they're so goddamn loud, to be willing on a whim to completely destroy and explode a marriage for no other reason than she woke up this morning. Z, she woke up this morning and thought what? No, she woke up this morning. Huh? How do you expect for non-black men to say, you know what, I'll end up with her anyway? Oh, you think non-black men think that no, she only does that to black men. Black women only do that to black men. They'll never do that to a white man. To a Latino man. Huh? Holly Berry has entered the chat. Ooh, goddamn. Janet Jackson has entered the chat. Oops. Rihanna has entered the chat. Yikes. Did y'all forget about Rihanna with the Arab dude? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Huh? Yeah, about that. Huh? Destroying marriages off a whim, on a whim. Telescope says the word you're looking for is pariah, Z, but they've made themselves on that. Elle says Serena liked the stream. No, but Serena's still married to Alexis Ohanian. For how much longer? We'll see. Huh? For how much longer? We'll see. Huh? What's going on, Dr. Thunder? Dr. Thunder in the house. Ah, right. So let's read this real quick and let's start off with the question. And Kanguru says, Z, I'm about to get my shop on like a woman. Should I cop the mattress for business? You mean the Benz? The Benz van? I haven't heard anything bad about it, right? On reliability and whatnot, and you see them you see them around, South Florida, hauling, moving stuff. Yeah, the Benz van. Yeah, I haven't heard anything negative about them or the reliability or whatnot. Um, and technically, you could tell people you have a Benz because you do have a Benz. Huh? If that's what you're referring to, if you're talking about the Benz, the cargo van Benz, right? So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with them. I haven't heard anything negative about them. I'll do some research, and maybe we could get a better answer to you next stream. But yeah, I haven't heard anything negative. Oh, let's make sure talking about remembering things. Chief Rocka, okay, Chief Rocka, we either gonna have to change the subject or something. Chief Rocka sent Z a big old $100 a few weeks ago, and he wanted me to cover something off of C-SPAN, and I haven't gotten a link or anything, so I don't know if you want to change the topic. Chief Rocka probably isn't listening right now, but maybe he catches this on the replay, so if not, I'll just have to keep on saying this every stream, so when he catches it, he could say something. But Chief Rocka, if you want to change the subject, you can. But yeah, I can't find that episode of C-SPAN or that video on C-SPAN. So if you want to send the link, that'd be great, and I'll cover it. If not, then you could change what you want me to cover, and we'll get to it. Right. But yeah, that part. So shout out to Chief Rocka. Yeah, I don't want to, when y'all send money and y'all want me to cover a topic, I want to cover it. I don't want to just, pretty much. I mean, like who doesn't like free money? But yeah, I definitely want to cover something, Chief Rocka. Thank you for the hundo, but we definitely want to cover something, and if you send the money for me to cover something, I want to cover something, right? So if you can't find the link, maybe it's too far down. I'll surf through the C-SPAN channel, and I'll go back because this was with me 3 weeks ago you sent that. I'll go back 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I'll go back and try to find it. I'll try to go back 3 weeks. But remember, the C-SPAN segments are like 3 hours long, so that's gonna be a little difficult. If not, then you could just send me the link for something else you want me to cover, and we'll get to it. Right. So once again, shout out to Chief Rocka. But yeah, Kunguru, if you're talking about the Metris Benz vans, I haven't heard anything negative about them. Right. Yeah, and they're pretty dope. So yeah, I like the way they look, but that's not the reason you would get it. But yeah, I haven't heard anything negative. If that's what you're referring to, if you're referring to something else, then I don't know. But we'll get to it, right? And thank you for the super chat, Kunguru. Thank you for the super chat. And let's see, there was another one. Yeah, gives you a second. And KMS says, Sarge Willie Pete's latest video was a literal tour de force on insufferability of black women. Hour-long rant with no fat on it. Okay, I'll check it out. I wonder if that's the one that I listened to the other day. It might be. But yeah, it is sad, right? As much as black men critique black women, I think that's because that's the handful of us that still care. I think when you get to Gen Z, I think Gen Alpha really gonna throw their head, not even throw their heads up. Gen Alpha, it just be the best woman for the job. And that's not gonna work for black women, because black women have made sure to not be the best woman for the job concerning black men in particular, as much as humanly possible. So, but when you hear the Mr. Z's or you hear the Sarge Willie Pete's, that's because we prefer black women and we want to see black women win. And black women said, if I can't have the world the way I want it, then burn it to the ground. And actually, that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is that black women are going to make themselves increasingly insufferable and isolate themselves from others, obviously including men, not just black men, but men. Right? So I'll check it out especially if it's one that I haven't heard already. Right? I've been trying to keep up with my Sarge Willie Pete think pieces, his videos, but yeah, I'm not surprised. Right? But especially the time we're in now, you know it was all over during COVID. COVID was so It was, the global pandemic. People elbowing each other in the face for toilet paper. Complete shutdown of the entire system. And black women were calling into Kevin Samuel's show telling you what they're not going to settle for. And still finding ways of insulting black men and all the negative stereotypes, etc., etc. Trying to argue Kevin Samuels down. Yeah. So you knew it was all shot to crap from there. And here we are some 5+ years later, and they haven't changed. Ebony K. Williams, as attractive as she is, as educated as she is, instead of being just a smidge more humble, we don't expect you to end up with the trash collector. Just a bit more pleasant and likable. Just a smidge. We low-key actually expect you to be a shrewd asshole, but not on the level you're actually at. But instead of her just being a smidge more humble, she out here, single mother by choice, test tube baby. Mr. Z, example right there. Exhibit A, everyone. Exhibit A. Huh? Ah. And for those of you that don't know where Mr. Z went with this and why he's speaking this way, well.
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
I opened up about leaving my 10-year marriage online, which no longer served me, him, or our kids, only to be told to go back because till death do us part.
What the hell?
What the hell is correct. She said, it's always the men that don't get it. Trust me, it's not just the men. The women are on your ass too. This is what you posted. You said, clapping for myself for choosing to leave my 10-year marriage because the unknown seems better than settling out of familiarity, safety, and comfortability. The unknown? What are you, 19? You have children, multiple young children. In your caption, you even say, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know what I'll do next. Do you think that that's a positive environment, a stable environment for your children to be living in? Especially when your only complaint about the previous environment was that you were too bored. Not that he was cheating, not that he was abusing you, not that he was a horrible father. It was that you had too much security. You're cooked. And now, one half of your entire personality is constantly reminding us that you're moving on from your marriage and moving on from the past. And yet the other half of your personality is constantly reminding us that you're divorced. That don't sound like moving on to me. In your own words, you had a comfortable, safe, stable marriage and life, which is more than most people can even ask for, and you threw all of that away just so you could go live your spontaneous teenage city girl dreams and make a fool of yourself on social media for the entire internet to see, and for your kids to have to grow up dealing with the repercussions of your actions. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, the home wrecker is inside the home. You are the epitome of a selfish person. Somebody pray for them kids.
And Kanguru, I don't know if Dr. Thunder is referring to the van, but he says too expensive to work on and frequently broke down. If that's the that might be the mattress that Dr. Thunder is referring to. So I don't know. Dr. Thunder said I don't know about that one. Dr. Thunder said it's gonna be in your wallet. Right? He said it's gonna be constantly in your wallet. So I played that clip for those of you that got in a little later, so y'all can see what Mr. Z is referring to. Yeah, she's celebrating. You imagine this, everyone. You record yourself clapping it up for yourself for divorcing your husband of 10 years for no other reason than your idea of freedom. Because you're bored. And then when you see how people respond, you focus in on how the men are responding, but of course, you coward. And you say, y'all wouldn't understand. Wait, you don't think men have to sacrifice? You don't appreciate that this is bigger than you and your shallow wants? Madam, if I saw correctly, I saw at least one son in that picture. Oh, the resentment is going to be a mug. Have fun trying to explain it to him. Have fun spending your entire life trying to get him to either dislike his father, trying to get him to understand your view, and it still won't work. Oh man, that resentment gonna be a mug when he get older. Oh, it's gonna be fascinating. That resentment gonna be a mug. That's gonna oof. That resentment is gonna be a mofo. No. So once again, KMS, thank you for the super chat, and I'll check out that Sarge Willie Pete video if I didn't already. If I didn't already, I might have heard it already. But yeah, we're all on it because we can see how this society is being constructed right now, and it's not pretty. It's really ugly. Actually, it's really, really ugly. And to see Black women in their current state and how they're acting and speaking, to be fair, I don't think most Black men want to see Black women struggling, and we don't want to see the children that are going to be attached to some of them struggling because mama gave daddy the middle finger. Because it's not just Black women, it's the children that are attached to them also. And for the ones that have children, apparently their idea of freedom and liberation is more important than the stability of them and that child, or them and those children. Huh? Shout out to G Serotonin, who tell us he knows a few people that's how many deep in one apartment. I think he said two of the sisters have kids. 2 or 3 of the sisters have kids. They're sharing what, a 2-bedroom apartment, I think he said. Ah, Z, you quiet. I know. Huh? It it's sad when you think of it, because you think about the children and you're like, what chance do they have when mom and aunties are all on the same type of time? Like, which person can you look up to and say, okay, I can model myself after that person? Obviously with slight deviations and obviously with improvement, but at least I can see a person I can imitate until I get to a certain point. If your mom and your aunts are all 3 deep in an apartment, and maybe an uncle, if I remember correctly, I think he said one of them, the brother lived with them too, but he didn't have any kids, something like that. Either way, if you are a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 12-year-old, and you and your cousins got to share a room, 2-bedroom apartment, hell, let's say 3-bedroom house, and there's no one to look up to, there's no one to say I can model that person. That person has a life that I wouldn't mind having. Even on the humble, we're not talking about rich here. We're not talking about celebrities. We're talking about someone in your immediate circle that you look at and you say, I wouldn't mind living that person's life. Like, worst case scenario, that wouldn't be a horrible life to live. Have my little 3-bedroom house, my 2-car garage, half-moon driveway, have the 2-3 kids with a husband, or if you're a boy, with a wife. What chance do those children have when mama and auntie them are getting smoked out? They still go into the club, they drinking straight out the bottle, they listening to ratchet music, they watching all the Real House. Real House 304s of whatever county. They're following Cardi B on social media. What chance do those kids have? Shout out to Accountable Commentary who covered it. What, that was early this year or was that late last year? The the young lady in Walmart that got arrested for stealing out of the Walmart, and then the light skin looked like she might have been Latina, but she could have been just really, really fair skinned black. She got arrested too. And the black woman had her son with her. For all of us that remember that. Exactly. Two heavyset single moms going stealing in Walmart. And your son has to be a witness to you and probably your friend being arrested. Your look like 5, 6 year old son. Ah, and Uranus says, and thank you for the super chat. At this point, Mr. from Color Purple is part of Black women historical canon. Yeah, I told you that it's not a movie anymore. It's a documentary. For Black women, The Color Purple is not a movie. It is a documentary. It is true events. And it's crazy because you're starting to see more and more Gen Z who never saw The Color Purple. And yet the echo of The Color Purple still reigns supreme in the Black community. There are Gen Z Black women who never watched a movie. Yeah, I know they did I know they went on tour. They have the play. We heard rumors of them trying to turn it into a series, or rumors of them trying to and yeah, they did the movie that came out when that was last year or the year before. Yeah, right. That was based off of a play, right? It wasn't the actual movie that we know, or a new version of that. It was a play that they turned into a movie. Yes, with that, there are Gen Z that never saw it. And yet the theme of the movie still echoes. The idea that in the 1910s and the 1920s and the 1930s were these super evil, mean black men raping women and children, backhanding and physically assaulting women and children, having children with all different various women outside of their wife, being verbally assaulting. I'm not using the other word because, you know, YouTube rules. That idea reigns supreme in the Black community. Much of how Black women justify their behavior. Now, whether it was true or not, they don't care. But they've convinced themselves that this is what transpired a century ago. A century ago, great-great-granddad, great-great-great-granddad was out here putting feet to ass on grandma, or excuse me, not grandma, great-great-grandma or great-grandma because he could. Huh? Because his food was on the table when he got home. So yeah, Uranus, it is, yeah, historical canon. Huh? Ah. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. A split Jim says, LMAO, my mom forced me to watch some stupid ass Oprah, stupid ass episodes of Oprah during peak cartoon hours. The pain. Look, you know, many of us, we went to grandma's house, we went to auntie's house, you know, some Xers, obviously they didn't have the money like that, obviously boomers. Even if you were first generation out the hood or out of a really bad neighborhood, you know, the network. So auntie would pick you up from school, or uncle would pick you up from school, or you would walk to grandma's house, or even however it worked, right? And in the living room was Oprah playing, or whatever talk show. Ricky Lake, Maury, name them. Huh? And it was just this man bad this way. It wasn't always black men. But when it was black men, oh, it was this man bad this way. And when you watched Oprah, that's what it was. A very narrow window of respectability, of course. Huh? A very narrow window of respectability, bro. If you get any closer to the car, how the hell you gonna get out? My apologies, y'all. Narrow window of respectability and a heavy smattering of black men ain't ish. Black women are outpacing black men in education. There's more black men in jail than in college. All of that rhetoric. Shout out to the Gen Z. That rhetoric is not new at all. To all you Gen Z, appreciate this rhetoric is decades old, not even 90s old, 70s old, 60s old, 70s old, 80s old, 90s plus old. Huh? So yeah, Split Jim, yeah, I bet. I bet she was forcing you to watch this stuff. And the theme of the talk shows was women are better than men. Women are more civilized than men. Men are cruel. Men are barbaric. Men are selfish. Men have to be civilized. Men have to be dragged kicking and screaming into being civilized by whatever selfless woman decides to take him on. And that's been the framing for decades. Men are these bumbling, mean, barbaric, horny animals that the society and the women have to civilize. Men are these feral creatures, big dumb oafs that women and this society have to civilize. And that's been the theme across America for decades. And no one's bought into that more than black women. Compassionate, you could clip that. You could clip that. Right? And you see that and you saw that on Oprah day after day. You see that on the morning talk shows, The View, right? The Talk, The Real, day after day. Obviously, particularly concerning black men. You let bitter Bettys like Lonnie Love speak, and black men ain't ish. And even when there are non-black women who are with a black man who say, I don't know about all of that. Because she's a black woman, she gets final say. She says, well, you're not me and you wouldn't understand. Of course, of course, of course. And what is she saying? Yeah, y'all don't get the same black man I get. See, black men are mean to me because I'm a black woman. Black men don't value me because I'm a black woman. And I'm a darker skinned black woman. Nothing to say about her weight and her attitude. Of course not. Nope, that's not the issue. That's not the problem. No, it's because she's a darker skinned black woman. And so black men don't know how to treat her and value her and honor her. Now, of course, if you're a lighter skinned black woman, if you're a mixed black woman, if you're a not black woman, of course, black men are going to treat you better because they value you. It has nothing to do with comportment and attitude and demeanor. Has nothing to do with behavior. Absolutely not. And you saw much of the seeds of that on shows like Oprah 30 years ago. 30 plus years ago, actually. And a split gem, once again, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And KMS says, it's an HVAC problem. The air conditioning subsidies and dogma, subsidizes and dogma can no longer keep up with the heat load of the occupants. Black women, effery, we'll say. The unit runs to fail, and the occupants either burn up or leave. It's an HVAC problem. The air conditioning subsidies and dogma can no longer keep up with the heat load of the occupants. Black women, effery. The unit runs to fail, and the occupants either burn up or leave. Black men. And what you find is, once you start getting the Gen Z, even young millennials, but definitely Gen Z, that's, I would argue, shout out to media, man. That's why there's the projection. Black men's marriage rate already is 36%. Black women's is somewhere around 28 and 29%. Black men's marriage rate is projected to go up to 40% because half of black men that are getting married will be getting married to non-black women. Black women's marriage rate, on the other hand, is projected to essentially stay flat. They can't make up for black men not being there. I get what you're saying, KMS. The black young men are leaving. Huh? The black young men are leaving. As the video I played earlier said, the young lady said in the comments, y'all don't get it. Y'all don't understand. Black women want to give black men the middle finger. When black men say, hey, this is not going to be a good look for you in the long run, they tell you, you don't understand. You're right, we don't understand. You can stay over there with the other black women who do understand indefinitely. Have fun with that. Huh? And as y'all black women say that black men can go where they're wanted, that's not what y'all really mean. Y'all just be a little spiteful, sarcastic, bitter Bettys. Non-black women are saying, yeah, we'll take them.
All the black men who date women outside of their race, white women, Latino women, Asian women, Hispanic women, Indian women, all of the women's. Okay? I'm telling you something, and I hope I speak on behalf of all black women when I say this, okay? This might be the nicest thing a black woman has ever said to you, so I want you to listen up. Open your ears, okay, brother? Do you hear me, Jamal? Marcus, are you listening? Terrence, I need you to the front. Somebody go get Kevin. Please go get him. All right? You're free to go. You're free. You're released from the shackles of the melanin.
You know, I hate to say this because she is such a beautiful young woman, but sweetheart, nobody cares. Why are you acting like black men need your permission in order to date somebody else? By the way, all black men who have dated Caucasian, Mexican, Indian, even Turkish women, they have never looked back. And you want to know something else? All these women who have once went black, they never went back. So either way, it's a win-win situation for them. And for you, unfortunately, nobody cares. Sorry.
The Black Kings get divorced, and then what happens? They're like, F it, we're moving on. Snow bunnies are going to clean me right out. So the snow bunnies get on top of things, and they mix, and they have this beautiful baby, and the process continues. So I do find that Black Kings often go to Black Queens first, and then they're like, snow bunny time. They'll either divorce them, dump them, and then move on. Swiftly move on. And they'll feel all cleansed, you know? Right. Anyway, on that note, do you like my nails? They're very Christmassy. It's almost Christmas. Divorce season's round the corner, which means snow bunnies warm in January. Yes.
That's how it starts, you know. taking bitches out to eat, meals and whatnot. Next thing you know, you wake up in a rest haven for hoes, a sanctuary for scandalous skeezers and stunts.
Huh? Yikes. Compassionate. Apparently, Sarai Brooks is married to a black man, if I'm not mistaken. Huh? If I'm not mistaken, I think Sarai Brooks is married to a black man. Right? So yeah. I played that clip. It's an old clip. Not of Sarai Brooks responding to it, but of the young lady saying that it's months old. I played that clip to emphasize black women are speaking this way. And it sounds good and it sounds empowering because you know them. They're obsessed with that feeling of power. Do they have any real power? Oops. But they're obsessed with that feeling of power, particularly concerning black men. So now it's not that you're leaving, it's that they're telling you to go. Okay, fine, we'll go with it. Fine. If that's what makes you feel better and helps you go to sleep at night, so be it. Remember this. That's all Z will say. Remember this. I want us all to document this and remember this. All of us under the age of pretty much 55, 60, we got a couple decades left. We got a couple decades left, hopefully, knock on wood. I pray for long lives for my subscribers. We have decades left. We're going to see if they really mean it. Technology will allow for people not to necessarily need each other, not like that. And that's if we don't nuke ourselves off the planet. And that's debatable. It's looking really debatable more and more every day. If we don't nuke ourselves off the planet, technology will allow for people to not necessarily need each other. Kind of. Now, how are you going to build wealth? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Huh? Did we not find that the people that fell for those AI chatbots the most were women? Ooh, you would have thought it was the men, huh? Ooh, somebody tell me I'm wrong. Excuse me. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. Shout out to all my tech guys. Is this Mr. Z wrong? Did we not find out that the people that fell for the AI chatbots the most were women? Who really fell in love with the AI chatbots? Was it not women? I'm not saying it might not have been one or two men. Was it not women? So y'all are so delusional that the only entity that can speak to your delusion are a set of algorithms that realize that you're absolutely insane and then still speak to your insanity. Alrighty then. Just making sure we have that documented. I just want to put that on the table. Huh? Yikes. And if you want to know how Gen Z and young millennials, how they're doing and how they're feeling concerning the absolute insanity that's coming from women, namely black women, well, we have them telling you.
So what's your sign?
So I'm looking for someone who's also financially stable and not has to work a 9 to 5 every day to live their life.
You have to have at least 3 cars under your name. Your second car has to have 8 seats because I have 3 kids. Oh, I want them to be comfortable whenever we go with you on a trip or something. You want me to come with you? I'm gonna bring my kids, and you need to have enough space for my kids. So
it's just my finances.
That just my finances every time. Wow. Gen Z and millennials, young millennials, everyone. That's hysterical, Better You. And Better You says, I don't know, this whole world is cooked, bro. Timu, Limu, Emu, world government in 5. Oh, they gonna flood the world? Oh, man. Not Timu and Emu. Oh, man. World government in 5. No, so infographics covered this maybe a month or two ago. If there was a world war, what it would look like years later, decades later, whatever. And the way they ended society being chopped up into like these corporate owned think of the chaebols in South Korea, but the chaebols chopping up the planet into like not company towns, but essentially company nations practically. Also think of the backstory behind Gundam Wing Iron Blooded Orphans. Think of the backstory. Remember when they got to Earth and they were trying to meet up with whoever the hell, and they found out the guy that they were trying to meet up with, the older guy, he had been voted out of his seat. But when you found out he wasn't a politician, right? So that's the fascinating part. Yeah, I could see it. But I don't think it's going to be one world government. I don't know if we're ever going to be at some one world government, short of like us exploring outer space or something, right? Right. Good one. Yeah, Joe's. And Joe says, so Shinra in Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, right. KMS says corporatocracy. Sounds about right. Right. And there's been a number of like movies. Obviously, y'all mentioned Final Fantasy VII, which Mr. Z played and beat. Of course I did. Video games, movies, obviously books, um, television shows that kind of have spoken to this before, right? So yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, the world kind of gets to that place, right? So let me get to the next one, and thank you for the super chat. KMS and Toya says, just sending love to everyone. Happy Saturday. What's going on, Toya? If you're still listening, what's up with you? Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. I know I'm getting to this, 30 minutes late, something like, actually more than that. And we're going to be in and out in a minute because Z got a bunch of errands to run and then we got things to do, right? So can't make this a reckless stream later on today. So we got things to do. Yeah, and I should be hopefully doing a panel discussion tomorrow, so y'all look out for that. Hopefully, knock on wood. If I don't do it, then lifed, and couldn't get to it. But we gonna try to make it happen tomorrow, right? I try to get y'all a panel discussion at least once a week, right? It might be a short panel discussion, just putting that out there. But yeah, Antonio, once again, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, and hopefully you're enjoying your Saturday also. It's beautiful right now in South Florida. Well, at least where I am in South Florida, and it's not raining and it's sunny out. It's not raining. Wait for it yet. Right? It's not raining yet, but yeah. So, all right, y'all. And thank you for the super chat, Toya. Thank you for the super chat. And KMS says, using a coaching reference, Gen X and millennial men are the last men throwing the headset for black women to get some act right. Gen Z and Alpha are she ain't got it, best player available. Yes, I don't really have anything more to add to that. Yes, Millennials and Gen X. Yeah, you're right. We're the ones throwing the headset in frustration and yelling and barking and having the veins sticking out our goddamn neck and the Vegeta vein in the forehead, right? Dragon Ball Z reference for y'all. The Vegeta vein in the forehead, right? That's millennials, especially older millennials and Gen X. Once you start getting to younger millennials, that starts changing. Once you get to Gen Z and Generation Alpha, it really is best player for the job. Huh? It's best player for the job. It's going to be fascinating to see how this works out. You know, I've watched BGS debate it with himself on whether black women are even capable of doing something different now. Whether this is like baked in now. And Mr. Z has that debate with myself also. And we're going to see. Hopefully, I'm here long enough to see some of it and see how this works out. We're going to see. If this behavior, if this worldview, if this view of black men, if this view of men is baked in, and the only thing black women got now is co-munching covens and maybe some pleasure robot in the future. Huh? And that's what it looks like. Huh? Oh, okay. Dr. Thunder said yes, he was talking about the Metris van. Okay. All right. Dr. Thunder used to drive a Metris van. Oh man, yeah. I didn't know. So Kanguru, Dr. Thunder said you might want to second guess that Metris van. If you're still listening, Kanguru. All right. Dr. Thunder said it was always in the shop. Let me see if I can find that quote. Yeah, there we go. He said too expensive to work on and frequently broke down. Yep. So in other words, Dr. Thunder said it was a Benz. It was a Benz being a Benz. Right? There are reliable Benzes, believe it or not. The supercharged E55 AMGs, those are pretty damn reliable. By the way, you're not gonna believe it, but for real, the supercharged E55 AMGs, we're talking about like the 2005 and 7 generation. That was your basis for your scat packs and Hellcats. I'm not joking. The chassis for the scat packs and Hellcats sit on it's the same general chassis for the Bubble Eye Benzes. As a matter of fact, the first generation Bubble Eye Benz. Right? Yeah, no, for real. So your scat packs and your Hellcats are sitting on a 20-year-old plus chassis. Right. I'm not even talking about the second generation Bubble Eye Benz, the E55 AMGs. I'm talking about the older Bubble Eye Benz. The second generation Bubble Eye Benz, that's the 05, 2005, 2007s. The supercharged V8s that made what 400 horsepower, almost 500 horsepower, 480 something or something like that. Yeah, your Hellcats in your scat packs, yeah, they were really heavily based on that, but the chassis goes back to the first generation Bubble Eyes, which is like the late 90s, right? Mid and late 90s Benz. Yeah. So those are okay, reliable from my understanding. But yeah, Dr. Thunder said, Kanguru, you might not want to go with the Tetris vans. Oh no, I said the Tetris. The Metris vans. Yep. Dell says, Sarge Willie Pete said the cement has already dried on black women. So Dell and Sarge Willie Pete said, Z, you don't gotta be around to see. I'm telling you right now, it's a done deal. It's over. Huh? We'll see. KMS says Dykes and White Mikes. Funny, I really do think that's the future. That's the future for black women. And it's there's a number of reasons for that. What happens when you think you're on the right side of history? When you think you're on the right side of history and there's no, as the young lady said, there's no improvement that needs to be done on your side, then you just stay there. It's other people that need to change to your worldview. You're right. You're on the right side of history. Your reading of history, your reading of politics, your reading of the social environment is the accurate one. Let the young lady tell y'all again with her chubby ass cheeks.
Us high achieving women have become the men that we want in relationships. We did everything right. We did the school, finished the school, got the good job, got the good house, got the good car and life and dog and friends and everything. And I never thought that achieving these things for myself would literally make it impossible to date. I thought that if women were able to accomplish these things for themselves and push themselves and be driven, there's nothing stopping men from being in that same position. And lo and behold, here we are. What happened? Like, where, what, why? Women are looking for a partnership now, right? Like, we're not dating because we need to. But the problem is, men are not sharing in that vision. They still are subscribing to a hierarchical model. They still need to be needed in some capacity. So there's two outcomes. Either I prove that I'm high achieving and don't require support, which makes me unlikable. But then if I did actually need someone for a financial incentive or whatever else, this provider role, then I'm a gold digger. So what do? Moral of the story, it's difficult to be in a position where there's no more improvement needed on our side. I don't think women should have to demote themselves in order to be palatable to men who need to be needed. I think the solution is men should be more driven to want to be wanted. But then...
Yep. I have to play the little bit past when she says there's no more improvement that needs to be done on women's side, because she gives the solution in her mind, which is women shouldn't have to lower themselves to men who need to be needed. Men should work to want to be wanted. Her framing is that men are holding other men to a misogynistic standard. And I'm tying this to what Sarge Willie Pete said concerning black women, even though this woman is not a black woman. When you think you're on the right side of history, you will contort all of the reality to fit your narrow band of you being right and you being on the right side of history. Look at her framing. There's no more improvement that needs to be done on the woman's side. Her words, as she's laying in bed or laying on a couch with these chubby cheeks that I would argue aren't from just naturally chubby cheeks, but because she's overweight. She is the epitome of what Mr. Z is speaking about. You're saying there's no improvement needed to be done on the women's side while we're looking at your face and seeing the improvement that needs to be done for you in specific, while you say there's no improvement that needs to be done on the women's side. Once again, tying that to black women and Sarge Willie Pete. Much of the reason why the cement is dry on black women and they're not going to change their behavior in their view of men, particularly black men, is because they think they're on the right side of history. They feel that they're on the right side of history and the world needs to bend to them, break to them, bow to them. They're morally superior to everyone else, including black men. Right? And so there is no improvement needed to be done on their side. As black men watch the improvement that needs to be done on their side not being done. And the background noise in their mind is
black women were supposed to be the leaders, and black men are just supposed to protect with their muscles and use their listening ears and carry out instructions.
Huh? Of course. But of course. Huh? Yikes. So KMS, yeah, bro. Millennials and Gen X, yeah, we're the ones throwing the goddamn headphones. We're the ones throwing the headset. You're definitely right. You're definitely right. Right. I mean, y'all know Mr. Z ain't big into sports like that, but yeah, but I've definitely seen coaches go off. I've seen the highlight reels. Right. So yeah, we're definitely the ones throwing the headset, you know, angry as hell, frustrated, better yet. Yeah. When you get to not even the youngest of millennials, but when you get to Gen Z and definitely Gen Alpha, it's over. It's over. And I truly think that is when what Sarge Willie Pete said, that's when it really shows itself that the concrete is set. Huh? Shout out to black women twerking on tables. Anyway, and thank you for the super chat, KMS. Thank you for the super chat. Let's do this. And KMS says, looks like black women in aggregate are stupid, Mr. Z. I don't think it's stupidity. On that one, I don't think it's stupidity. I think it's anger. I think it's a resentment that there's no words in the English language to describe. I think black women truly believe they've been cheated, and I wouldn't tend to disagree with them. I don't disagree with black women if they feel like they've been cheated by society, white society. I would not disagree with them. But you throwing a temper tantrum and being angry specifically at black men and you sitting on your hands, pun intended, and saying, I'll destroy everything if I can't get this. Well, quite frankly, black women, you don't got enough power. So you're only going to really destroy yourself and your image. And we're watching you destroy yourself and your image and maybe the children that are attached to you. And while black men in increasing numbers are making sure that black men are not the ones having children with you for you to destroy. So it's just going to be you destroying yourself. I don't think it's stupidity, KMS. I think it's a resentment and an anger that the English language does not have a word for. I think there's a resentment coming from black women in specific. You think black men are not resentful? No. I think there is I'm saying yes, black men are resentful too, but we're not willing to destroy everything on the planet for it. There's a resentment that black women have that they are not white women politically and socially, that they had their femininity stolen from them, that there's nothing but negative stereotypes concerning them that they're not really trying to fight against, but we're gonna leave that one on the table. And the resentment knows no bounds. I mean it when I say I don't think there's a word in the English language to describe the resentment. No, I don't think there's a word in the English language to describe the resentment. Oh man, I don't think it's stupidity. For the masses of black women, I think half of them are whimsical and do whatever the hell they want to do, twerking on tables, etc., drinking, smoking out, etc. And the other half is the resentment. And there's some cross pollination, obviously. But yeah, no, there's a resentment there. I don't know if it's stupidity, right? It may lead to stupidity for some, but I don't think it's stupidity. I think it's a insane level of resentment and anger at the world that black women don't get to be white women. Yeah, I know y'all tired of Z saying it, but no, I think it's that. And thank you for the super chat, KMS. Thank you for the super chat. KMS continues. It says The Five Laws of Stupidity by Carlo Capilla. I'm telling you, I think it's resentment. I think it's an insane level of anger and resentment that says middle figure to everyone and everything. Right? Particularly black men. I really do. I think it's an insane level of resentment. All right. And once again, KMS, thank you for that super chat. And Tunnel Runner says, and some of these black women are supposed to be your quote unquote helpmate, your support, through rough times. I get what you're saying. Through rough times, can't trust it. I'm gonna put that clip back on my can't work with him, can't build with him. Yeah, I'm gonna put that clip back on my on the back of StreamYards, and I'm gonna leave it there for a while. Because we need it. We need it, right? But yeah, Tunnel Runner, yeah, they're supposed to be your helpmate, but they got the world so topsy-turvy in their mind that in their mind you're supposed to be their helpmate. In their mind, you're the one that's supposed to be helping them, bowing to them, really. I'll spare y'all Munchkin, but I'll play this because the young lady told you.
What if black women were supposed to be the leaders and black men are just supposed to protect with their muscles and use their listening ears and carry out instructions?
There you go, Tunnel Runner. She said it. Huh? She said it. And some of these women are supposed to be your helpmate, your support through rough times. Nah, she said, no, you're supposed to be her helpmate. You're a big dumb jock that should know your place. And all you are, as Mr. Z says, is a overglorified walking wallet and guard dog. Black women are supposed to be the leaders. And you're supposed to use your muscles and follow instructions. You gotta love it. The honesty. As black men say, yeah, about that. See, I love it because she doesn't look like she's particularly old. She's a millennial or a Gen Z. She's definitely a millennial or Gen Z. And shout out to all the quote unquote elders who are pretending like they're wondering why their sons aren't dating their daughters. The young black boys aren't dating the young black girls. Exhibit A. Huh? Exhibit A. No, Tunnel Runner, they think you're supposed to be the helpmate. You're supposed to use your muscles and your listening ears and follow instructions. That's what she said. Once again, Tunnel Runner, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Huh? Yep, and Compassionate says, if you start from a false premise, you can justify some magical ass-ish, bro. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. And that's where they are now. No matter what the environment shows them. Do y'all realize that inflation is really kicking people in the ass? People getting laid off, automation's nipping at our heels, machine learning. We don't know what a lot of folks with children, all of you with children, between, let's say, the ages of 10 to 18, you don't really know what direction to point them in concerning career opportunities. We don't know what this technology gonna do. What jobs and fields is gonna eliminate. We sent children to school for coding for a decade plus. And then we woke up and yeah, that doesn't mean no coders are getting jobs. That doesn't mean that the coders that are getting jobs aren't getting lucrative jobs. But it's not what it was even all of 5 years ago. All of 3 years ago. And in that environment, black women are still giving black men the middle finger. Okay. Just got laid off and fired at the tune of 300,000 jobs in the past 9 or so months, 10 or so months, and they still are giving you the middle finger. Let them live and die with that middle finger. Right? And KMS says, and thank you for the super chat, I'm actually a staunch first was feminist. I think first wave feminist, I think you meant to say, yeah. I'm just read again, Z, I'm actually a staunch first wave feminist. I would love to treat them as equals, but they insist on acting like children. They don't want to be accountable for or responsible, nor responsible, better yet. So I'm a dictator. KMS, haven't you heard Z, and shout out to Compassionate for sending me the video. Haven't you heard Z what I've been saying recently? Oh no, equality is punching women in the face. This is not a black woman thing, this is a woman thing. Black women on the cutting edge of this by saying equity now. Not equality, equity. And the reason why they're using equity is because equity makes up for the past boons and gains of an unequal system. It's much of the argument black people make, but women think they're slick with this equity talk. And now they're trying to inject equity in the conversation because of their distorted, weird, lopsided, topsy-turvy view of fairness. The real reason they're using the word equity is because equality is stomping them in the clit. It's punching them in the breast. They don't like what equality has become. So they're actually now pivoting to speaking about equity to make up for the fact that equality means that you end up with a man who earns somewhere near what you earn. Equality means that you end up with a man of similar height. Equality means that you end up with a man of similar status. Equality means that if you're an asshole, you get an asshole. No. The women said they didn't want equality. Equality means that if you're insufferable, then maybe you get no one because another insufferable person, you're not going to want to be with them, so you don't get anyone. No. The women are now speaking about equity. Fairness. Oh, and what does equity and fairness entail for these ladies? Well, it means that, because I'm a woman, it doesn't matter. You earn more than me because I'm going to have the children and I'm going to practice more emotional labor and I'm going to do the chores around the house. Huh? Because men don't practice any emotional labor. Definitely not emotional labor on the level of women, particularly not in the black community. Don't you know? So KMS, they see what you're saying about equal and they raise you equity. They think they're slick. And once again, KMS, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Right? They heard us saying, y'all don't really want to be equal. So they've already started pivoting to equity. They think we're dumb and slow. Truly. Shout out to the ladies who think we didn't see that pivot. We see it, and I'm telling y'all now, y'all going to start hearing more and more women say equity. We're talking about heterosexual women in specific. Both in and out of the home, they're not going to stay. They're going to slow up on the equality talk, and they're going to start saying equity. Because when they're being hit with equality, you already started hearing them saying, that's not what we meant. We just meant equal pay. When they didn't appreciate, you're going to get equal everything. Now they're pivoting to equity. Of course they are. Of course they are. And once again, KMS, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And Otis says, you know how arrogant you have to be to think you do nothing wrong? They're going to really be upset when the artificial womb is completed in 2 years. They're upset now. But you're right. They're definitely going to be upset. Because if it's going to take you let's say even $20,000, we could find this $20,000. In the grand scheme of things, $20,000 ain't nothing but a 5-year note, a 5-6 year note. If men who want to pass on a legacy to a child, but see human women as insufferable, why do women get to have all the fun and they get to have test tube babies? Nope. We go find our artificial womb, pick out the traits we want for our son or our daughter, probably son. Huh? Look at our family lineage, our line, and eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I want my great grandfather's height. I want my face. I want my dad's build. I want let's say my brother. And can we? Oh yes, we can do that. Okay, my brother's skin tone. I want my intellect. Boom. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Yeah, Otis, they're gonna be mad. You better believe it. When women no longer can be the stopgap for child rearing and raising, oh, it's a wrap. Shout out to someone who foresaw this and was trying to slow women up with the crazy talk. Believe it or not, Selkish Ray. Selkish Ray. I remember Selkish Ray speaking about this years ago. Like, hey, ladies, all right, y'all better slow up. Yes, that's Selkish Ray with the dreads. Selkish Ray tried to slow up women, namely black women, years ago. And she's kind of come back to it here and there for a couple years. Selkish, they not trying to hear you. Selkish already know what this is going to look like for women, namely black women. Black women don't realize what it's going to look like for them, though. The rest of black women. Yeah, Otis, I agree with you. In about 2 years, I don't think it's going to take that long, but in about 2 years, yeah, they're going to see. And by the way, China doesn't have any of these moral quorums that these moral issues. So if they're working on the artificial wombs, by the time if Chinese women are becoming more and more like Western women, and they're getting their education and their status, and they're saying, I don't want to be with those dusty Chinese men, essentially, right? And we've seen the videos of Chinese women saying essentially the same thing that chubby cheek hopper lady said. Well, no, y'all just got to step up and want to be wanted. All right. Chinese men will find whatever way to finance these artificial wombs and have their children. And there you go. Huh? And Otis, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. KMS says first law. Oh, man. The first law of stupidity. Yes, KMS. I get it. I get it. I get it. That's all I can say to that. That's all I can say to that. I get it. Right. Give me a second. Because I'm missing something. Because I wanted to. Okay, yeah. First law. Everyone always underestimates the number of stupid people around them. Even when you account for it, there are still more than you think. I hear you, Camus. I hear you, right? And thank you for the super chat. I hear you. What I'm saying is, I don't think it's simply a function of stupidity. That's all I'm saying. If you listen to black women speak, as a matter of fact, Ebony K. Williams, Amanda Seals, Angela Rye, Tiffany Cross are like, these are the people, right? Like these are women who none of them, even Tiffany Cross would be the least attractive out of all of them, and she's not ugly herself, right? Like, these are the quote unquote preference. All of them are lighter skinned. Tiffany Cross is probably the darkest of them, and she's not an ugly woman herself. But all of these women are average-ish or above average in looks. They're educated. They're all of that. It's not stupidity. They're just little resentful, bitter Betty trolls. Little sassy trolls. Educated as hell, attractive trolls. Oh, man. And I know you're going to come up with the next law. I can't remember which number it was, where it doesn't matter of their education or their status or whatever else they've accomplished in life. It's still stupid. I know you're going to put it. Oh, man. But yeah, no, I think, yeah. When you listen to those women talk, when you listen to, especially Tiffany Cross, when she was on MSNBC, and now that she's on the Native Land podcast, yeah. Yeah. KMS, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And he says, second law, the probability that a person is stupid is there we go. There we go. I said it. And KMS says, second law, the probability that a person is stupid is independent of any other trait. Education, status, or wealth make no difference at all. And well, there you go. That's the response to what I just said. Yep. Yeah. I really don't got nothing to say about that, because I said what I said, and then you had already put the super chat down. I just didn't get to see it, and there we go. And there you And let me read this from Compassionate because this is funny. And Compassionate says, Black women hijacking concepts like equity puts Black men in the position to argue against a concept that would benefit us in the grand scheme of things. And that's the pincer move, right? And by the way, and this is the disheartening part, this is much of the reason why you hear the Antons sound the way they do. And the Obsidians and the Angry Mans. It's because Black women put Black men in this weird pincer move where you either agree with this distorted view of equity and fairness and intersectionality, that's the word I was looking for, or you're a coon because we put you in the position to argue against these things that in the long run either at best causes people to practice a form of indifference towards Black people in their plight, and at worst causes people to be hateful towards Black people. So you either go along with us. I said this to FD before, right? Black women put Black men in the position that either you follow our lead as Black women and you kiss our ass and follow our lead in this weird distorted view of the world, or you're a coon. And we force you to advocate against these things that hurt the masses of Black people, even if it doesn't harm you individually. This also speaks to, and better you if you still listening, this also speaks to Dr. Tyne, who I covered months ago, and when she was speaking about self-power and these individual Black men who do things for themselves and advocate for themselves alone, and they don't have a communal idea. Once again, when she was speaking about self-power, this is exactly what she was speaking to, Compassionate. Exactly what she was speaking to. Yep. So, yeah, y'all. I have to end out, y'all. I got things to do. We getting close to the time, y'all. Okay, let me hurry up with this then. And KMS says, third law, golden law. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. A stupid person causes losses to others while gaining nothing for themselves, sometimes even harm themselves in the process. I can't argue against this one. So I'm just going, KMS says, I got you, Z. I can't argue against this one, especially concerning the names that I listed. And I'm gonna have to go and find that clip of Amanda Seales from a year or so ago, maybe a couple years ago, in an interview she did, where she was like banging her head up against the wall, not literally, but like in the interview, you could see her get real close and then like tie herself into pretzels, like describing that boss hog dudes refuse to realize that they should be with her and women like her. Like she essentially pretty much said exactly what Z said. And like you watch her walk up to the line, get right up on the line, and still not cross the line into rationality. Like, no, they don't want women like you because women like you don't know how to shut the hell up. Right? And you watch her walk up to the line in the interview and say the thing and still not register. They see you, Amanda Seales. They hear you, Amanda Seales. They, like Anton said, they appreciate women like you and Ebony K. Williams as employees. Y'all will make great employees. But no one wants this personality as a wife, not even a goddamn girlfriend. Okay, man, I don't know, bro. I know I low-key just advocated against my own beliefs and thoughts, but we just gonna moonwalk right out of this one. Cue up the clip of Homer Simpson disappearing in the hedge, right? Again, man, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Let's continues with the fourth law. He says, non-stupid people always underestimate the damage stupid people do. Now, that what I don't do. I do that. What I actually emphasize the damage that these people do. Notice I still didn't say stupid people. You see that? Yeah. But the damage that these people do. Yeah, I definitely emphasize that. So that what I don't underestimate. Forget the stupidity is irrational, unpredictable, and contagious. Forgetting that, yeah, I get what you're saying. They forget that stupidity is irrational, unpredictable, and contagious. Irrational, that one I don't underestimate. Unpredictable, that one I don't underestimate. And contagious, yeah, this type of behavior, yeah, because you see it across the board. And that's why I mentioned when I say the light skin, dark skin, East Coast, West Coast, down south, Midwest, right? Slim, thick, heavy set. That's me saying all different type of, particularly when we're speaking about black women, exhibit this type of behavior. Different classes, different socioeconomic conditions, different skin tones, different status levels, etc., etc. East Coast, West Coast, tall, short, yeah. So that's when I say that, that's me saying that's me essentially saying the contagious part, which is like it doesn't even matter, right? So yeah, KMS, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And he says, fifth law: a stupid person is the most dangerous type of person there is. They can harm more than a bandit because their actions make no sense. That's a difficult one to debate against, so I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to leave that one where it is. I ain't gonna say nothing to that. I'm gonna just leave that where it is. I can't disagree on this one. I'm just gonna say I don't know if it's stupidity. That's all I'm gonna say. What is that fell? Something fell, and I don't know what it was. So I'll get to it when I get to it. Whatever. Yeah. So I can't disagree with this. I can't disagree with this one, right? And so we just gonna move on. We're gonna just move on out, right? We're just gonna, like I said, we're gonna moonwalk right out of that one. Leave that one. Compassionate says, aka stupidity is chaos and women are human manifestation of chaos, right? Yeah, exactly. I am Waffle says girl math equals boss man should want boss woman. That's essentially, you know what? You said it way more succinctly than I could have ever thought. Yeah, that's essentially what Amanda Seales said. That is essentially what she said in that interview. I will find it, and I'll clip it out, and we'll get to it eventually. But yeah, shout out to I'm Waffles. This is exactly what she pretty much said. Girl math equals boss man should want boss woman, and like no, because what I want from you is not what you want from me, huh? Yep. And Compassion says, i.e., black women misuse concepts like racism, put us in the position to deny its existence, i.e., black conservatives. There you go. Or at the least, if not deny its existence, minimize it. Right? Minimize it. Right? So yeah. And Chef Butterbiscuit says, I have a very dark theory. And thank you for the super chat. He's right. So here we go. We go nightmares, everyone. And he says, I have a very dark theory. If women keep this stupidity up, goddamn, Chef Butterbiscuit is agreeing with you, Camus. If women keep this stupidity up, the artificial womb coming in, they will reduce themselves to vintage experiences for those who want a taste of what it was before Tiffany 3000 firmware updates. Ooh. You imagine an insult in the next, let's say, 100 years, 150 years being, oh, you, what was it, Judge Dredd? It wasn't Judge Dredd. Was it Judge Dredd? Oh, you have, like, natural sex with real human women? Like, the old school way? Why would you do that? Don't you know that you could get her pregnant? And then, like, did you forget why our forefathers started having children with artificial wombs? Why would you give a natural woman that type of power? Ew. You have real human sex with real human women? You give them that type of power over your life and your progeny? Why would you do such a stupid thing? You could transfer diseases and you would give her power over your future. Why would you do that? And they go dust off or blow off some old child support laws book, family court ruling book, and start opening it up, and you hear it creaking as they flip through the pages to show their friend, look at the rules, look at the laws, look. Look how they used to treat men when women and men used to have children, you know, like old school, biologically, like the children used to come from the women, like, right? Look at how they used to treat the men. I hear you, Chuff Butter Biscuits. I hear you. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. That's a, I don't know if it's that dark. I don't know if that's that dark. I think that's a possibility for the future. That doesn't sound too far-fetched. We already seen it in movies. That doesn't sound too far-fetched. And with the direction that human beings are going in now, the only reason we don't have this mentality now is because of old school values that still permeate some of the society. And those of us who are slowing up because we don't want it to be like this. We're trying to slow walk the society into this type of technological advancement, and obviously the technology isn't here yet. That part too, clearly. But yeah, those of us that are slowing up because we don't want our society to be here, because we appreciate that connection is important. And if you take away the human connection, God knows what we will be. Huh? Who does this harm the most? Women. Huh? Women. Because think about men and the hours you can work. Think about men and how much you can lift. Think about men and how long you can run and how far you can run and how fast you can run. This devastates women. But the women so short-sighted. I ain't giving you it, KMS. I'm not gonna give it. But so short-sighted that, well, they low-key advocate, high-key advocate for their own extinction. Well, and thank you for the super chat, Chef Butter Biscuits. Thank you for the super chat. Right. Talk about pincer move. KMS working the whole stream to put Z in a pincer move. So on that note, y'all, we'll pause right here. Right, Z got things to do. We really got things to do. We got to run. We'll pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all gotta check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. Great convo. Y'all have me dying in the comments, right? Yeah, and we played the clips, right? So we still got to do a part two part twos to the stream I did with the other day and the one before that. So we'll get to them. We'll see which one I decide to do a part two tomorrow. Goddamn. Whichever one I decide to do a part two tomorrow. Wow. Yeah, we'll see, and hopefully I could have a panel discussion with y'all tomorrow, and we'll get to it. We'll get to it. All right, y'all. And KMS laughing. All right, y'all. We'll end it out here, and y'all have a great rest of y'all Saturday. It is a beautiful day in South Florida. Y'all go to the beach. Y'all go chill out with your family. Somebody barbecue something. Send Z the barbecue through the mail. I do not like barbecue sauce, so just season it and put it on the grill, preferably charcoal grill, and you can just go ahead and send that through the mail. And thank you very much. All right, y'all. Mr. Z out.
You are now listening to Mr. Z Blackneffect.